Today I'm going to show you an alternative method to making delicious strawberry gelato. Yep, you can make delicious gelato and ice cream with store-bought jams, jellies and marmalades. And there's one important thing that you need to account for, and that's the sugars and the solids. So let's get an ice cream calculator up and I'll show you how to add those to your system. With our ice cream calculator up, this is a different ice cream calculator. This is a Chrome-based web app. I will put a link in the description. It's made by the same person that made the original ice cream calculator, but it made it a bit more accessible to those that are on Macs. He's also done a total web-based solution as well for those that don't use Chrome as a browser, but I'll go through that another day. So we're going to add our jam. Now this is a pure strawberry jam, and we're going to look at our ingredient database. Okay, this is kind of what we're working for. I've actually added this already, but as you can see, because I'm not logged in, it doesn't show it up. So I'm going to quickly log in, and here is our ingredients library as well. So if I type in jam now, you can see I've put this in here. But if we want to add a new ingredient such as our jam, we can click add new, give it a name, strawberry jam, and here we go down to our composition. Now on the back of the ingredients, you can see here it's got sugars, which is glucose and fructose, and standard sugar, strawberries, citric acid, and pectin. Now, of all of the ingredients, it's just really the sugars that we need to account for. The strawberries, we've got no idea how much they put in here, and there's actually no way to tell. But the sugars are what are going to change our recipe. It's what's going to make our ice cream or gelato freeze properly or incorrectly and make it super icy. For the nutritional facts, it's per 50 milliliters, 1 tablespoon. We have 10 grams of sugar, which equates to 10 milliliters of sugar. So let's just convert everything to grams for ease. 15 grams, 10 grams. So that's 2/3 of that is sugar. All right. So what we have here is our list of ingredients down here, sugars, total sugars. So 2/3 of 100%, because if we go up here, it's per 100 grams. Okay, so let's just make that 100%. It's a much easier way to figure that out. We can go down here, we know that 2/3 of our total amount, so per 100 grams, is sugar, 66.666. Whoops. But we do know that if 66% is solids, so sugars, that means that 34% is water. Now our pack and our pod, this is a really clever thing that this calculator can do if you're adding a new ingredient, is you can click on this here where it says calculate pack and pod for sugar from sugar composition. So it's not 100% accurate, but it's really close. So we can click on that and we go down here and we know we've got 10 grams, so 2/3, 66% sugars. We know that those sugars are glucose, fructose and sugar, but we don't know what composition they are. We do know that fructose is incredibly sweet. So let's do a 50-50 of fructose and glucose. So 33% would be glucose, 33% fructose. We don't know about the sugars, but what we can do is calculate this basic idea of what this jam would do to our recipe. So we can click on OK, and there it is. We can click enter. But that tells us how we can easily add something like a jam to our ingredients list. So now let's create a recipe. We're going to create a new recipe and we're going to call it strawberry dark chocolate, because that's what we're going to make. And here we go. We're going to make this a gelato, so that's staying the same. So let's look at our ingredients. We need milk. We're going to use whole milk. We need cream. We're going to use 33% cream. We're going to add sugar on here because we don't know what the composition of our jam is going to give our recipe, so we're going to do that. And finally, skim milk powder and a stabilizer of some kind. So here, add all. So we've got 5 ingredients selected, add all, and here they are by amount. It defaults to 100 grams of each, which we know is just insane. As we start adding our ingredients, we can see the levels change here, but we know that our sugar is not going to be 100 grams because we're going to add in our jam. All right, so let's just pick one of our jams. Let's just pick this one. All right, and add it in here, strawberry jam. If we add 100 grams of our strawberry jam, our serving temperature is minus 13.5, approximately, because we don't know what the sugar makeup of this jam is. So that's pretty decent, but we can make it stronger. And here we go, we're starting to affect our sugars. Highlights that our sugars are too high, so we can start bringing down these kind of things. We're getting down, so let's just get rid of that normal sugar completely. Look, we've got 200 grams worth of our strawberry jam, so we've got a decent amount of water. It's bordering a little bit too high. Our fat is at 5.05%. So let me play with this for 5 minutes and then we'll come back and see where we're at. So here we go, we've got our numbers. We've got 200 grams of our jam, 43 grams of our skim milk powder, 520 grams of our milk, 50 grams of plain sugar, 185 grams of cream and 3 grams of stabilizer. This gives us a gelato temperature of minus 14.4, serving temperature a little bit lower, but our freezing point is back to about minus 4 Celsius, which is perfect. Now, if you look here, this serving temperature is pretty much where your freezer is going to be. Most home freezers are minus 17 to minus 20 Celsius, so 0 Fahrenheit, a little bit lower. And that's perfect because this means this is going to scoop just perfectly straight out the freezer. All right. So another way to do it is, rather than input the numbers yourself, you can click balance and it will automatically attempt to balance your recipe. It has mixed results, but it's good in a pinch if you're new to this kind of ice cream calculator. There we go. This is our gelato, strawberry gelato made with our store-bought strawberry jam. Let's get all those items out and ready to go. Right, so we're going to start with our milk, which is 777 grams. Into that goes our cream, 278 grams. Into that we're going to put our strawberry jam, 300 grams. Now we're going to weigh out our sugar, which is 74 grams. I think it's 74.9, so 75 grams. And into that we're going to put our stabilizer. We're going to use 4 grams of stabilizer in this. 4 grams because it's gelato. Gelato is lower fat, so it needs much more stabilizer to make it balanced and creamy and delicious. We're just going to tiny whisk our stabilizer in with that little bit of sugar. And that's going to go into our base as well. Finally, that strawberry jam is not going to make this super red. It's going to make this like a really weird off pinky color. I'm going to add some red food coloring. This is gel food coloring. It's just going to make it a more attractive color. I'm not going to go too mad with it, but I'm just going to add enough to make it look a little bit special. Obviously, if you're going to use food coloring, use one that dissolves in fat, because obviously we're making ice cream, which has got fat in it. So that is everything. We're going to get this on the hob and heat this up. This stabilizer is a warm process stabilizer, so it needs to come to 80 to 85 C, and we're going to keep it there for 2 to 5 minutes to fully hydrate, and then we're going to come back and finish this off. Right, there we go, we're up to temperature. Now I made 3 variations of this, and the one that had the skim milk powder added after the heating phase turned out just better than the others. I don't know why, shouldn't make any difference. But that's what we're going to do now. Plenty of heat in that mix to dissolve our skim milk powder into our base. So we're just going to stir this for a minute or 2. And we're going to strain that to get any pieces of that strawberry jam out. I want this a nice clean gelato. This is now going to cool down. If you want to cool this in an ice bath, then by all means just chill it down, stir it as you go. But I'm going to pop this in the fridge to rest overnight, and we'll come back tomorrow and deal with the rest. So after your ice cream is chilled in the fridge, we're going to take it out and bring it back together before popping it into our pre-chilled ice cream machine, so it goes just above the bottom of that top dasher there. We're going to take some dark chocolate, this is 60-65%, and some nice quality olive oil. It tastes really good. We're going to chop up our chocolate and get it in a microwave proof container, put in a drop of olive oil. This one's a much better size. And we're going to melt that in 30-second blast. I think this took about a minute and a half, something like that. Do not burn it. Once it's all completely stirred together, you can put that aside. You can use magic shell if you want. Doesn't taste as good. Towards the end of the churn, you can start drizzling that chocolate in. It will freeze on impact and create this beautiful stracciatella. Once you load up your ice cream into a container, get it smooth on top if you can, and then pour on top some more of that delicious dark chocolate. Close that tub, pop it in the freezer. I'm looking forward to this. Outside today, it is minus 31 Celsius, and with wind chill, minus 40 Celsius. Yeah, super cold this morning, but I mean, you kind of get used to it. We had a really good spell for winter. It was pretty mild, and then my buddy and I were saying that it's unlikely to get super cold again, and then 5 days later, bang, hit with minus 40. Anyway, let's try this delicious gelato. Loving the aesthetic of this. That is so good. Really, really nice. Delicious strawberry flavour. That jam flavour comes through nicely. Now, one thing that concerned me slightly was the pectin in the jam. Unknown amounts, so we kind of had to guess. Same way that we guessed with the glucose and the fructose. Strawberries naturally have a glucose and fructose in them, so whether it's that, whether it's added, I got no idea. So we have to take a bit of a guess as to balancing a recipe like this out. Turned out perfectly, and the Stracciatella with that dark chocolate, this is, I think, a 65%, maybe a 60% dark chocolate. It's a Lindt dark chocolate. I use this on my chocolate channel. It's amazing chocolate. Use any chocolate you can get hold of, and you can also, like I showed you earlier, use the magic shell in a bottle at a pinch. Tastes like crap compared to real chocolate, but will do the job. Beautiful colour, as you can see, and there's loads of that dark chocolate stracciatella in there as well, topped with some of those pieces of that real couverture chocolate as well. Really makes this stand out as a flavour. If you're making ice cream commercially, using jam as a flavour element for an ice cream, there are so many different jams, jellies, and marmalades available. You kind of, make it however you want, but you do have to make sure that's balanced correctly. But there we have delicious strawberry gelato made in a really easy, simple way. You can use any flavour jams, jellies, or marmalades. Balance it with the right amount of sugar. Use a calculator. If you're unsure, pop me a question in the comments and I will help you out. But I hope you enjoyed this one. Really nice. I made a good sized batch, 1.5 kilo batch. So that's 2 Ninja Creamy Deluxes, 3 standard Ninja Creamies, or a good churn batch. Good overrun on this as well. So hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you